welcome to Jackie's Literary Corner. I am Jackie, and I'm here to do an update video for you guys. I already attempted to film an update, but I didn't like it, so I decided to do it today. I'm doing it again, and I know it hasn't been that long since my last update video, but think of this as kind of like a vlog. It's just not in the vlog format, because it's just like, it's literal separation. It's not like one long video like all vlogs are. But anyway, and I have other stuff to talk about too that are not book related. Although in a way they are book adjacent, because even though they're not books, they are fairy tales that I want to talk about. Okay, so I just finished yesterday. I finished Piglet by Hazel Lottie. This is really good. It is a little bit, it's not like an exciting plot or anything. It's kind of a drama, about a woman who finds her, a woman who has kind of an interesting, a complicated relationship with food. And her husband, she's striving for the perfect life, and she's been living the life that everyone wants her to live. And she finds out her fiance, who she thinks they have this perfect life, he reveals to her this betrayal. And a few days before the wedding, and she still decides to go through the wedding, even though when she tells the two people she tells, or one of the people that she tells, her friend is like, I cannot believe you're still marrying this guy. You deserve better than this. And it's a really interesting story. And I don't know what kind of book this is for. I mean, because it's not like a genre story. And it's really more thoughtful, at times frustrating because of the main character, and I also kind of was frustrated because the author doesn't tell us exactly what the betrayal was. I think you're kind of just supposed to guess, or it's like that's not what's important. But I'm like, did I miss something? And I keep trying to guess what it is, but it's not revealed, and maybe that's not the point. I did look at other people's reviews, and again, they just say he reveals a betrayal, but no one knows what it is, or at least I don't think they do. Like, again, I'm still thinking up to this point. At this point, did I miss something? Was there something revealed, or is it not spelled out for you? Not specifically spelled out for you, but it's obvious what he did. I mean, maybe I'm dumb or something. I don't know, but it's still a very interesting book. I enjoyed it. And I did start, this is the other book I got from the library, The Book That Would Not Burn by Mark Lawrence. And and the good news is that I saw all the books from this series at the library, so I know they're all there. Thankfully, when I finish this, I can just, get the next book. I did start a little bit, and I don't know if this is inspired by a non-European culture, I think. This fantasy world. I want to say it is. I don't know which, I'm not sure which. But which is great. I really appreciate that because, I love European settings as much as the next fantasy fan, but it is nice to see, like most people would say, most fantasy readers would say, it's kind of nice to get a different type of fantasy environment. I mean, that's why there are a lot of others who are trying to, are putting in the effort to have a different type of environment, not just European-centric settings. But in case right now we've started with the perspective of this girl, what's her name? Liveria, who she says she's named after a weed, apparently. And she lives in a small little village on the outskirts of, I think it's like a desert or something. And it's just her and her aunt. We don't know anything about her except for that she is a bit, she has a bit of a temper, and she, is a very outspoken person. And so one day she sees people showing up at her little village coming, and everyone's scared. All of a sudden it's a scabber, I think shows up, and fight breaks out as they try to defend their village because they're freaking out. They want these people to go away, but then they end up, everyone scatters, but they end up taking some of the kids from this village, including our main character. And she doesn't know what happened to her aunt. She doesn't know, just like the other kids, she doesn't know what's going on. She keeps asking questions, but of course, these people that take her don't appreciate her asking questions. And that's as far as I got. I know we're also going to meet another character, Evar, I think. Okay, yeah, I'm assuming you say Evar. He is, or Evar maybe. From the description, I know that he lives in this library, but he's trapped there, and they're gonna cross paths at some point. So, and oh my god, this library's so cool. I mean, the library on this cover is really cool. Like, which the only other library that I absolutely, this library, and then I also love the library in Beauty and the Beast. I'm like, forget giving me flowers and chocolate, just give me a library. Give me that. Let me use your library. But then again, like, I think a lot of people a lot of readers will make that joke about, I don't care about flowers or chocolates or whatever. I just want the library that Belle has in Beauty and the Beast. But this library looks really cool too. I wouldn't mind this library. So that's what I'm currently reading along with my. If you watch my video on reread me listing books I want to reread, one of those books it's under this pile. Where is it? Sorry. Okay. I started a reread of Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb. This is the first book in the Farseer trilogy. I read this years ago, and I want to reread it, so I finally picked it up and started rereading it today. I mean, I started reading it days or weeks ago, or maybe at the end of last year, I don't remember. But so I'm up to the point Fitz, our main character in this book, he has been marked by the King Shrewd, his biological grandfather. And now his life is basically changed. So in case you by chance have not read this Farseer trilogy, so this is the world of Bookkeep, this kingdom, and Fitz, our main character, he's telling the story as an adult, looking back on his life, and the book starts when he's 6, and the person who's kind of being a guardian to him at the time is finally fed up with it, doesn't want to do anymore. So it turns out that he is the bastard child of one of the princes of this kingdom, Prince Chivalry. And so this guy sends this kid to the palace. Is like, I'm done with babysitting this kid. And he gets taken in by the stable master because, of course, King Shrew doesn't want to acknowledge the kid, and educated on how to take care of animals. And, he has a little bit of protection now. Not a lot just yet, because he's still a bastard. But then one day, when he's roaming around the palace, he's found by King Shrewd and his son Regal, and Shrewd has been thinking about this kid and has finally decided to claim this kid as part of his family. He won't acknowledge him as a prince, but he's decided to acknowledge him, and he kind of marks him as his own. And soon Fitz is gonna is given his own private room. He's going to starts getting education, and he can live in the palace. Live in the palace, and also. And he also learns to fight. And then one night I just read the chapter where the mysterious King Shrewd's assassin Shade shows up and comes to educate Fitz in the darker art so he can learn how to be an assassin. And that's where I am right now. And we've already been introduced to his on and off again love interest, Molly. And we meet her as a little kid. She has an alcoholic father who's abusive to her. And although at the time when he first meets her, she's known as Nosebleed, which I'm guessing that has reference to her father's abuse, probably. And we also learn that Fitz, so first of all, in the Farseer family, the royal family, they all inherit this skill, this gift known as the skill, which is mind reading essentially, and getting in someone's head, controlling their thoughts, reading their minds, stuff like that. But there's also one other gift that Fitz has, and that is the wit, which means he can connect with animals. He can read their minds, become one with animals, and or with beast. And he finds out from Burke, the stable master, that this is seen as bad because there's the danger of becoming more beast than man. You bond so much with an animal that you're no longer human. It's always that fear, and he's trying to break Fitz out of that ability. And so I'm still liking. I mean, I'm really enjoying this. I mean, I didn't think I wouldn't, but I'm rereading it because I just want to reread it of my own without feeling influenced by people on BookTube. Because now, of course, even if this book had a resurgent, right now it hasn't. And but at the time when I first, when we moved and I got into BookTube and everything, I remember this was very popular amongst fantasy readers. And I want to say I've heard that Robin Hobb's not done yet, that she's going to write more books, I think. But yeah, I've been wanting to reread this just to, without the influence of BookTube. And that's happening now. So, and it's also partly because of, I'm currently reading, I did start last summer, started the Live Ship Trader series trilogy, which a lot of people say you can either start with that one or start with this one. Depends on what you're looking for. But it is like, they do say if you start with this one, you can read the Farseer trilogy, the Live Ship Traders trilogy next. But anyway, so yeah, I'm reading this one right now, but I also got to read the library book. I haven't picked up the Guns of August yet. That's kind of slow going. That's the thing. Sometimes with nonfiction, I take a lot longer with that because it's not necessarily a story unless it's a memoir or a biography. But even then, a biography covers, it's a lot bigger. With like memoirs, I'll get through those faster because it's almost like a story, but it's short. It's not like the person's whole story like a biography, unless it's a short biography. So, because I think, America is in the Heart, about the poet Carlos Busan. That was a short one, so I was able to get through that one quick. And great memoir, by the way, and learn about, especially if you want to learn about the Filipino experience. And but yeah, I get through those quicker because they're not as long. And Guns of August is, it's not telling a story. It's just, in a way it kind of is, because it's telling the story of World War I and when it first started. But it's still stating like facts. So it's taking me a little longer to read that one. But I will get back to it. I want to reread. I want to finish it, of course. But anyway, now on to the non-book related thing. Well, first, I don't have a lot to say about podcasts except for like I'm listening to this new podcast, the Book Club, which is connected to the Rest is History podcast, because one of the hosts of that one also hosts the Book Club, and the producer of the Rest is History is his co-host of the Book Club. And that actually reminded me of some books I want to reread. So some of those I do talk a little, I mention it in my video that I just filmed actually on listing all the books I want to reread. Although not all of them, because there are some that I forgot. Like, The Son of a Witch. I've been meaning to reread that one. But anyway, So I'm listening to that, and then of course my usual book related podcast, and I'm always trying to make sure I listen to the history ones as well, because I do like those ones. And so here's the other thing I want to talk about right now. So right now I'm kind of on a little bit of a Disney kick, because I am watching the first Disney movies I ever got into, because these three kind of came out during when one of them came out when I was born, and then the other two came out right after, like, when I was like a little. So I literally did grow up with these movies, like, because they came out when I was growing up. And like and so if you are familiar with, if you know the years that all the Disney movies came out, or a lot of them did, you know that Little Mermaid came out in 1989, and that was the year I was born. And then right after, in 1991, Beauty and the Beast came out, which is still my number one. And then not too long after came Aladdin, and I'm kind of obsessing over the actor who voices Jafar. I'm kind of obsessing over him right now. And I wish I could have seen him on Broadway, because he actually did play Jafar when the show first came to Broadway. They asked him to do it, and I think that's so cool, because that has not happened. That never, that's the first time that has ever happened, I think, where the actual Broadway show, stars one of the original cast members of the Disney movie, which I think is so cool, because they do have a lot of, during the Disney Renaissance, they were casting not just famous actors that were, movie TV show actors, but there were ones that these actors were on Broadway, did Broadway stuff. So Broadway, it makes sense. But then I understand, like, the hesitancy from the actor, because he would, he was like, he wasn't sure, and when they first approached him, it was like, well, maybe we should give someone else a chance to do it first before I do it. But no, it worked out. He did it. But yeah, those movies, I literally did grow up with those movies, because they came out as I was growing up, when I was baby to toddler years. And like, Little Mermaid's probably the first movie I ever saw in theaters. I mean, I don't know for sure, but because I was a baby when that came out, but still, it might have been the first movie that my mommy took me to. I don't know, but anyway, I think that's why those mean so much to me, why they were always special to me. So, and now I'm re-watching them for the second time. Even though I can watch them, and I'm not even watching them on Disney Plus, because we have Disney Plus, but I'm watching my DVD/Blu-ray copies of those movies. And I don't know why, but all of a sudden I just felt this desire to watch them. And of course, as soon as they start playing the song in the song, I start singing along, and it's really hard not to want to sing along with them. And I mean, I know I always see all those videos all the time that are like, let's play a game and see how hard it is to not sing along. And they used to have those sing-along VHSs that, you could use, like, they would show the clips and stuff, and they would have the words, and now they just insert them in the special features of the DVD/Blu-rays. Or they have, I know on Disney Plus has sing-along versions that you can play, and the lyrics will come on the screen, you can sing along with them. And again, I'm gonna admit this, I actually enjoy the live action. I know, again, as I always say, I get the reason why people don't like them. And I mean, even though my friends like the Beauty and the Beast one, because I'm a little sensitive to the fact that they don't like the Belle's dress, and I actually kind of like it. I think it fits her. But I understand the reason why they don't like it, because, it's a very simple dress, and, it doesn't fit the time period that they establish in the live action. And I get why people don't like it, because it's like Disney's just rehashing the original story. Yes, there's little changes that they make throughout. And then some situations they just completely change. They still keep it, but they make big changes. Like Mulan, for instance, they made some big changes with that one. Like Shang and Mushu aren't even in the story. Like, not in the way that they were in the, Mushu, I think, is referenced. But Shang's not even in the story. And it's like Disney's afraid to do romance now. And then, like, they don't, and then like Pinocchio felt very lifeless, and all of a sudden Pinocchio's like, he never does anything wrong. It's like, that's not the point. He does the bad things because he learns from them. Actually doing the bad things, like he participates in the stuff on Pleasure Island. That's the point, because he learns and he does those lies and stuff. He doesn't all of a sudden just do it once and then learn, because that's not how kids are. Kids don't do it once and then kids will continue to make mistakes and will do things, especially, when, not to say, not, I mean, because I was a good kid, I didn't do, but I wasn't a saint. I did still do bad things. And I mean, I still would tell white lies and stuff like that. I wasn't, so yeah, I think it's unrealistic that this kid, even though, yes, he's a puppet, but still, the message of the story is that he does bad things, but he learns from them. And it's a lot worse in the book, I think. So him being like a perfect child and only doing a bad thing once and learning from that's not realistic. And I did not like the changes they made in the Pinocchio one. And it was a little weird. Tom Hanks' accent and everything was a little, I mean, I love Tom Hanks, but his accent was little, but I mean, granted, I don't know it, I'm not an expert, but yeah, I was not happy with that one. So some of them, yeah, I don't love them all, but I liked the adaptations of Little Mermaid and Beauty and the Beast. I enjoyed them, the live action adaptation. And then I thought Snow White was okay. It wasn't anything special, but I don't hate as much as a lot of people do. And then, I vaguely know about the Rachel Zegler controversy. But I don't know enough to have a strong opinion. But yeah, so I actually, some of them I like. But I get why people just hate them or are criticizing them a lot, because it's like Disney's just, they're not even doing anything, they used to be so original or try to be as original as they could be, and now they're a big business, a machine. It's just cranking them out. And then I know that the one non-live action cartoon they did for the 100th anniversary was just, people were not happy with that one. And it's like, this is supposed to be special, and it just ends up being a disappointment to people. Anyway, so yeah, that was the other thing I wanted to talk about, was right now I'm going through a phase where I'm watching the first 3 Disney movies I ever got into. And then somewhere in the middle is Nightmare Before Christmas. I mean, that might have been after a line. I'll have to check on the date when that one came out. But that's in there too. So in a way, those were the 4 Disney movies, and they're still my favorites, and I will still watch over and over again. But I also love the ones that came before I even came into existence, like, The Great Mouse Detective, and there was a few others. I cannot remember. There was one more I was thinking about that came before my existence. Robin Hood. Robin Hood and Sword in the Stone, which those came before I existed, but I love those too. And then there's one more that I was just thinking of. I cannot remember what it was. But anyway, and yeah, the songs start playing, you hear the music, and all of a sudden you're singing along, you know every single word, and I will know the words, like, word by word, to the point where I will correct people if they're not exactly word for word. I mean, it's not that serious, I know, and I'm not mean about it, it's just like, I can admit, like, I have a bad habit of correct, like, if you don't say it exactly, like, well, actually, no, this is what they say. And like, and I know it's not that serious, but anyway. So that's the other thing that's going on right now, I'm almost done with my second round, and I think I'm gonna watch Return of Jafar, because I actually liked it. I remember liking it when it came out, and I mean, the only thing that bugged me was I knew that the animation was not the same, and I think I knew that Genie was not played by Robin Williams. I'm not sure. I think I knew there was something off about his voice, I think I knew. I mean, I don't want to admit that I knew. I don't want to say, oh, I knew all along, because I don't remember if I knew all along. I mean, like I said, I think I might have noticed it was a little different. But yeah, I definitely knew that the animation was different. I mean, or at least I think I did. But I still enjoyed watching it. And, you know, I had the VHS and everything, and I would, you know, watch it every so often. And I think I might watch it, because I don't have that one on DVD or on Blu-ray, but I do. It's obviously going to probably be on Disney Plus, so I'll watch it on there if it is. But one of the things I love about that one is they actually gave Jafar more than just him doing a reprise of Prince Ali like he does in the movie, which, funnily enough, there were a lot of potential songs he had in the original movie, but got deleted. Like, Humiliate the Boy was one of them. And I actually listened to it, and it doesn't, I actually get why they took it out, because there was a different plan for Jafar and who he was originally when they were first working on the movie, but then Gilbert Gottfried was brought in to play Iago, so that changed everything, and the song doesn't really fit the persona of Jafar that he became, the person he became in the final product. But it was still kind of a fun song. And I'm glad, you know, there's people have, and I'm sure it's on my, you know, Blu-ray of Aladdin, where deleted songs, including Proud of Your Boy is another one that I haven't listened to it yet, but yeah, you know, it was really fun. You know, you get a demo of it and everything, and I really enjoyed it. So I enjoyed, you know, hearing what that would have been. But yeah, and like I said, I'm kind of really obsessing over Jonathan Freeman, who played Jafar. And again, I think it's so cool that he's been playing Jafar not just in the original anime movie, but he's been Jafar for, you know, he was Jafar on Broadway, and then he was Jafar in the other places and he actually, and like I said, there's a song, he has an actual full-on song, not just the Prince Ali reprise, in The Return of Jafar, which is kind of mocking, which again, he's mocking the genie, like he was mocking, in Prince Ali, he's mocking Aladdin. Well, in this one, he's doing the same thing, it's just a little bit longer, and it feels more his own song, rather than him doing the reprise and making it his own. And I'm sure the actor, of course, would think, yes, I did get a villain song. But I don't know how to phrase it, because I don't want to insult the guy and say that, and say, well, Disney didn't give you a villain song, because in a way, it's still a villain song. It's just, it was a reprise song of the original song, Prince Ali. So it feels different, because in Return of Jafar, it's his own song. It's completely his. It's not like him just doing a reprise. So I don't know if I'm making any sense, but maybe you guys don't agree with me. But it just feels like that to me, that he didn't really get a true villain song. Like, he did get one, but not really. At least, like I said, that's just my opinion. Anyway, so I'm gonna stop there. And with my update for you guys. And I hope you guys don't mind that because I just kind of want to talk about other stuff, because, you know, and so I hope you don't mind that. Like, I mean, I can talk to my friends, of course, because I do have, you know, I'm not some lonely person who doesn't have friends, but sometimes it's, like, easier to verbally express it, while with my friends, I only text them unless, you know, I decide to call them, and I don't like talking on the phone sometimes. So, anyway, I hope you guys don't mind. I mean, no one's complained yet, so I'm assuming you guys are enjoying me talking about other stuff as well. Anyway, I hope you like this video. Would love to know, as always, would love to know what you're currently reading, and I will talk to you all later. All right, bye!